Mayor Eric Adams, the Democrat, could soon have his federal charges dropped. Well, because of the Republican administration. CNN is learning the mayor's lawyers are in discussion with federal prosecutors to drop the corruption case, which includes charges of bribery, fraud, and soliciting illegal campaign contributions. This is Adams. Recently traveled to Mar-a-Lago to meet with Trump, skip Martin Luther King Day celebrations in the city, in New York City, so he could attend Trump's inauguration. Out front now, former Trump White House lawyer Ty Cobb. So, Ty, we hear these conversations are happening, and obviously Mayor Adams has been both to Mar-a-Lago and inauguration, which are significant things for the Democratic mayor of the largest city in America. So do you think that's what's actually happening here?
I think it's really hard to ignore the likelihood that that plays into it. Trump announced, over a month ago that he was considering a pardon for Adams, or he might pardon Adams based on, Adams's attempt to pretend that he was somehow singled out for political reasons, notwithstanding the fact that Bob Menendez just went to jail for specifically what Adams is charged with, taking bribes from a foreign country.
12-year sentence.
Menendez from Egypt and Adams from Turkey. So I think the combination of Adams's recent signs of fealty to Trump, the frequent conversations that they've had, the fact that the Justice Department conversations that were reported today apparently went through Emil Bove's office. Emil Bove, who until a week ago was Trump's personal lawyer, is now the acting deputy attorney general. I think it's very hard to ignore the likelihood that something's up, and it could well be that the threat of a pardon will bring the Southern District to the table on this. Typically, they want to be independent on this. Typically, they would be independent and be dragged kicking and screaming to the table on something like this, but we'll have to see.
We'll have to see. And interesting that you point out the similarities between the cases. And Menendez's 11-year sentence. I'm sorry, I misspoke and I said 12 years. But if Adams, indeed, if the cases are dropped, charges are dropped, what that means for Menendez. Well, the Justice Department earlier said it would not pursue criminal charges against two of Trump's co-defendants in that classified documents case. And obviously that's not going to surprise many. But this is after Jack Smith obviously had tried, Ty, to revive the charges against them. And you say there is a consequence to this decision, that isn't just that no one's going to be held accountable, but that there is a serious consequence. What is it?
The serious consequence here is that the report that Jack Smith did on the classified documents case, which doesn't add, will not likely add a bunch of new allegations or anything, but will significantly demonstrate the layers and layers and layers of substantiation that the Justice Department had for the allegations of Trump's violations of the Espionage Act and obstruction of justice. We know because of the speaking indictment what those allegations are, and the information that was to be provided to Congress would have laid that out in spades. But the Garland Justice Department chose, for reasons that I think it will be fairly criticized for going forward, they chose not to take this dismissal a month ago, at which point they would have been then free to share this information with Congress and with the country. Now we may never get to see it, and certainly we won't get to see it for at least 4 years.
So before you go, Ty, you and 22 other Republican officials, so it's 22 other Republican officials, 23 in total, wrote a letter urging senators to oppose the nomination of Kash Patel to be FBI director. Now, his confirmation hearing is going to be tomorrow. You go through some reasons in this letter, you and these 22 other Republicans. You say poor judgment and that he is motivated by revenge. There were other things, but those two stood out. Poor judgment and motivated by revenge. What would it mean for the FBI if Kash Patel is